Hello and welcome back to the House of Phoenix. It is Miss Phoenix here, and I just wanted to go through our introduction to Dead by Daylight Part 2. This is our guide to survive, and it is for beginners from our perspective. Alright, if you've played Dead by Daylight, you'll know just how hectic it can be and how complex, and that is because no two games are the same, people. There is a lot going on, loads of variables. So for example, who are the survivors? What perks have they got? Did they bring equipment? Are they using offerings? Are you playing on your own or are you in communication as a team? Which map are you on? What is there for that map? Which killer are you against? What perks do they have and what offerings are there? At the end of the day, these all accumulate to what becomes a very dynamic game, and you just have to go with the flow, see how it rolls and adapt your gameplay to suit. So without further ado, you're going to watch one game all the way through, but throughout I've put little clips in and some notes to help you understand what's going on and the best way to perhaps approach the game as a new survivor. Now when you first spawn, you might actually be with another player. Here I am with someone who I haven't actually played with before, and that's cool. Okay, so before we go for too far into this, I'm going to stop it right there and point out just a couple of things you need to be aware of. Down the bottom right hand side you can see your perks. I've only got 3 at the moment, but you can have up to 4 depending on your level. You have your team and all the icons, keep an eye on it, and you have gens to be fixed. There are 5 gens to be fixed to be able to activate the gates, 7 gens on the map, but you only have to do 5, and you can bring an item which you can see just there. I've brought a first aid kit. So first and foremost, you need to get those gens repaired. I've got one here and I can hit RB to start repairing, which is exactly what I'm going to do. And while I'm doing that, you'll see me turning around and having a little bit of a look. I want to know what's around me and I want to know if there's anybody else nearby. I can see the pallet, but that is because I have a special perk. If you don't have that perk, you won't. But you do need to keep an eye on your team. You can see why in just a second, because this happens. People get injured, being attacked by the killer, and so you just have to keep an eye on their status. Whilst this is going on, you have skill checks. Yes, you do. Okay, so you hit LB in this zone to be able to pass the skill check, or this little itty bitty zone to get extra bonus points. And there are your points down the left hand side. They'll keep popping up throughout the game so you can see how it's progressing for you. It can be a case of you want to survive, or it can be that you're going for points, which we talk about in a different video. Right now I need to get this gen repaired, and you can see there's a little grey bar there, and that goes up as I'm repairing it, and I need to fill that bar in order to complete that gen. Unfortunately, you can see the other player has been hit and are now downed just by the little icon on the bottom left, and you can see the little hook. There you go, and you see the player just behind the pallet actually hanging on the hook, so we know where they are if we want to go and help them, or if we can go and help them, I should say. I will tell you now, I am in communication with Freeze and Cello during this game, so you can't hear it, but we are telling each other what's happening and do I need to stop and help, or are they okay. So they're now off the hook, and I'm still working on this gen, which is fantastic because, like I said, we need 5 gens. This one's completed, so it lights up. Be aware that sends a notification to everybody, including the killer, that that gen has been repaired. So I'm going to walk away from that gen. I don't really want to be there in case the killer comes looking for me, but what I have found is a totem, and we talk about totems in a different video, but I suggest you cleanse them. This is a non-glowing. In the top right corner, I'm showing you what a glowing totem looks like, which means that the killer is already using this. And that one's a hex. If you cleanse it, you get a little red flash, comes up in the top right. That shows it's been cleansed. Now I've paused there, you can see the killer's near me, but they're chasing someone, so I'm going to run in the opposite direction, I'll be honest. They're not injured. Okay, so they can take a hit. I'm going to run away. Be warned, if you're running, you leave scratch marks. A little picture on the right side there for you. That's what the killer sees. You don't see it unless you've got a perk. So if you don't want to leave scratch marks, you walk, or you can hide in a locker. RB to hide. I don't want to hide. but I've put a little video in to show you exactly what it is like to climb inside a locker slowly and quietly. Be aware there are two speeds. One is fast and noisy, one is slow and quiet. You can see the slow and quiet version there. And you just RB to exit. Now, if you were paying attention, and feel free to rewind the video, I've seen a pallet drop, so I know the killer is nearby. That makes me anxious, and in fact they've downed someone, so I'm going to RB to climb quietly out of the building and hide. There's a chest next to me. Another great thing on this game is that you can search chests. So this is what I could be doing if I wanted to find an item. Listen to the noise it makes though, because the killer hears that noise as well. This killer's distracted, which is good because I can finish searching and I can pick up that toolbox and walk away. But that isn't always the case. In this case, I don't need anything because I've got my first aid kit. Now I can go quietly over, or you go fast like that, and you can vault over windows or pallets, but it makes more noise. So lots going on right now, so let's stop and have a little look. We've got a hooked player that we can see over the other side of the map, and that's indicated at the bottom by the hooked symbol for that player. We also have a notification of a gen repair on the right hand side, the little pointy arrow thing. Someone else has fixed that gen, and because I'm not looking in that direction, it's given me a directional arrow. The killer can see that as well. Okay, so while that killer, I'm assuming, is going to have a look at that gen, I'm going to go for the hook rescue. And you just hit RB or hold RB and you get the hook rescue. I tend to not hang about too much, just in case the killer decides to come back. So I'm going to go back into the house. I'm going to hide upstairs. Yeah, I'm a fraidy cat. Luckily this player's followed me. I have my med kit, so I can RT to heal with the med kit, or if I didn't have a med kit I could hit RB and heal them that way. Because I'm using the med kit, my healing bar is gold, and as the healing goes up, my med kit goes down in usage. And yes, if you saw that, there is a skill check for healing people as well. So luckily my player buddy here is healed, and we can crack on with another gen. Somebody else unfortunately has been hurt, but I do know that Freezing Cello is trying to save them. They're having a bit of a problem. So like I said, we're in communication, so I go and try to help, but she manages it in the end, so I can go back again. That's what I mean by just see how it goes, go with the flow, because the game is constant and there's always lots going on. You can see there, my good friend on my right hand side unfortunately missed the skill check, and you see a little explosion. We get that notification, and also the killer gets that notification. However, you can see in the background he's actually attacking someone else, so he's too distracted as the killer to come bother with us over by this gen, despite the fact we've blown it up. However, once that person is hooked, and now my lovely friend has blown up the gen again, we're in danger. Okay, so we're going to jump out the window. My friend's gone one way, I've gone straight into the killer. Amazing. Now I don't want to take the killer to the hook person, we need to clear that space. I'm running away in the opposite direction, and over in the distance I can see a pallet, and pallets can be used to help you. Check out this video, this is what I wanted to happen. I wanted to drop it and yeah, smack him on the noggin. However, this is what actually happened. Yeah, didn't even get a chance. Pallets are amazing, so we're going to stop right there, and I'm just going to show you what you can do at the end of the day with pallets is, if you don't manage to drop it onto the head, as you will see here in a second, you can create a barrier, and it creates a little bit of a loop for you to run around, gives you a bit of space, and look, I can slide over, but the killer can destroy the pallet, and that breaks your loop, but it buys you a few extra seconds to get away. So yeah, I didn't make any use of that pallet whatsoever. I didn't have the opportunity to hit RB, which you might find sometimes. But now I could wiggle free if I have enough time between here and the hook. However, the hook is actually pretty close, and being able to wiggle free is pretty limited, to say the least. So I'm hooked. Okay, to be aware, there are 3 stages of being hooked. My first stage, I can actually use RB to try and escape. This is incredibly rare for me. I actually don't have any video footage of me doing RB and escaping. So watch the health bar and check on where your other players are by looking at their auras, okay? See who's coming to rescue you. As your health bar reduces, if it gets to halfway, you go to the second stage of being hooked, and that's the struggle phase. So there are 3 phases. The first phase, which I'm in now, I'm just hanging around. The second phase is where you have to struggle, and I'll show you that in a little bit. And then the third and final hook phase, you're dead, basically. And again, I'll show you that a bit later. But right now, I have got someone who's trying to come and rescue me, and I want them to come and get me before I get to the second phase, which is the struggle phase. Okay, so here we go. And they have me safe and sound, which is amazing. Again, I don't like to hang around the hook, so I'm going to run away and hide. I need to heal. Unfortunately, if you look at my perks on the right hand side, I don't have a self-heal perk, which I highly recommend. I do have a medkit that I can use if I really had to, but I'm really lucky. In this case, I've got a friend who's followed me all the way, and they're very kindly healing me, which is amazing. Fantastic teamwork, and it is really appreciated. So I give him a little thank you. He's run off, which is fine. I can actually go down here because I know that there is a generator already. And I also know, yep, there's my friend Freezing Cello. So we can work on this gen together. Now, if you remember, the bar on the repair is red when you're working as a team. So it goes just a little bit faster on the repair, but you still have to do your skill checks. And bear in mind, depending on the killer and their perks and everything else that's going on, the skill checks vary in their location and move around the screen. And in the top right corner, I've just put in quickly, this is where I'm using the toolkit. So the repair bar is actually gold. It's quicker and sometimes quieter depending on the add-ons that you've got for your toolkit. So be prepared, watch our video on making sure that you have all your perks in place. We want to get this gen finished. We've got 2 left to get done, and now we've only got 1 left to get done, which is fantastic. That's a really good game so far. Freezing Cello is going to go and try and rescue this person that's downed and on the floor, because there are several stages of being hit and injured. Okay, so at the moment they're on the floor, they could be picked up and healed. I'm running around the other way to see if I can get to them on the hook. Now you'll notice birds, okay? Watch out for them. If you're near them and the killer's near them when you go past and they fly like that, the killer can hear them as well, and it can let them know where you are. Now looking at that person on the hook, you'll see they're not just hanging there. They're in struggle phase, and you can see by the bottom bar under the hook picture in the bottom left corner, they're less than half the health. So they are in struggle phase, and I'm just going to put a little video in just here so you can see what it looks like to be in the struggle phase. There you go. And you have to tap A, okay? You keep tapping A until someone rescues you or you run out of life, basically. Now this player's running off, and I can see the killer's going after them, which is not good. So I'm going to try and take a hit like that and redirect the killer to follow me. However, on checking behind me, the killer hasn't fallen for it. They've still gone after the other player. So I'm going to heal myself. And whilst all this is going on, someone else has been working on the gens, and you can see there a gen notification because I'm facing in the right direction as opposed to before. The red arrow because it was in a different direction, all right? But same principle. So that means we can now see the exits. 1, 2, all white and glowing, so you know exactly where they are. And again, in the bottom left, you can see it says find the exit, so you know you have to get out. Now I can't fully heal because I can't self-heal and I've run out of medkit. That's fine. I also know that Freezing Cello and the other player are on the other side of the map trying to rescue the person that's downed. So while they're doing that, I'm opening this gate ready to give them another exit route. They're on the opposite side by the hook, which is actually where the other exit gate is as well. So I'm going to get this gate open and they're going to try and get the person off the hook. Unfortunately, it would appear that the killer is hook camping. Notice how I leave through the gates, but I haven't left the game, and we'll talk about this again in a minute. So I can go back in again, no problem. And I can go and try and help because they're struggling to get that person off the hook. And we really don't want to leave a person behind if we can. However, if they're hook camping, there's not a lot you can do, especially if you're injured. My 2 teammates have left through the other gate. I can't save this person on my own, so I'm going. However, if they're going to die, and if you want to know what that looks like, this is dying on the hook. Yeah, be prepared, it's not very pleasant. Okay, but back to the exit gate. I did tell you, keep running. Don't just go past the gates, go all the way to the end and actually exit. There, now you know you're safe and a killer can't get you. If you find yourself as the last survivor on the map, even with the gates shut, you might be lucky enough to see the hatch, see it on the left hand side. You can jump out the hatch, but you have to be the last player surviving. Okay, so that is it. That is our whistle stop tour of introducing new players to Dead by Daylight. You can stop it, play it, rewind it, fast forward, whatever you want to, just to give you a bit of a heads up. But in the meantime, look out for our other videos with more hints and tips. Take care, and we will see you again soon from everybody at the House of Phoenix.